All right, let's get right into it. We're about to pull apart a story where you think you know the rules, good versus evil, right? But what if that whole cosmic battle is just the setup for a massive, terrifying punchline? What if the game was rigged from the absolute start? Okay, let's really sink our teeth into this quote. Reality as a terrifyingly logical punchline. This one little phrase, it completely flips the script on the entire conflict. So, if you were thinking this was just a straightforward choice between good and evil, you gotta think again. This whole thing is framed as, well, an inevitable, kind of darkly comic ending. So on the surface, this story looks pretty familiar, right? Almost classic. We've got this high-stakes trial for the soul of one guy, a character named Astyanax the Seeker. But, and this is a big but, as we're about to see, that surface is just there to fool you. And here we go. This lays out the classic conflict just perfectly. You got heaven on one side, the archangels offering this divine push, an Anstoß, to try and awaken the soul. And on the other side, you've got the princes of hell, tempting it with all the usual stuff, pleasure and power. But here's the real kicker, the twist straight from the source material. This whole epic setup, this grand battle you're looking at, it's described as, and I quote, a hollow fiction. Yeah. Nothing more. So what does that really mean? It means this huge contest for so-called absolute freedom is a total sham. It's all just a show, a performance with zero real substance. The source calls it a symphony without a beat, orchestrated by the ultimate trickster himself. Bottom line, the game is fixed. Okay, so let's shift gears and look at the hero of our story, Astyanax. Because as this whole thing builds, you start to realize something about him, or maybe what we think is him, it just doesn't add up. And this, right here, is where the whole deception really starts to come apart at the seams. And that leads us to the one question that changes absolutely everything. What if the guy at the very center of this cosmic drama, the soul that heaven and hell are supposedly fighting over, what if he was never the real deal in the first place? Well, let me introduce you to the real star of the show, the Twilight Cynic. This isn't some soul that's up for grabs. No way. It's a perfect duplicate, a plant, an inside man who's already on the payroll. He belongs to the house. And when you've got a player like that on the board, well, the outcome of the game is already decided, isn't it? Now, I know this might sound like a pretty wild theory, but the thing is, the evidence for this duplicate, it's been hiding in plain sight the entire time. It's all right there, baked into the character's own words and actions. We just had to know what we were looking for. And here it is. This is the smoking gun. When he's faced with the ultimate choice, divine obedience versus pure selfish power, our so-called protagonist says, I shall treat the world as a cosmic irony. Come on, that's not the declaration of a soul trying to pick a side. That's a mission statement. It's the voice of a cynic who already knows the punchline to the whole cosmic joke. And this just lays out his true loyalty perfectly. I mean, look at this. He rejects both sides, the binaries. He's not interested in heaven's divine obedience, and he's not interested in hell's path of total self-obsession or solipsism. Instead, he picks a third way, the path of the sapphire demiurge. And that's all about mixing powerful will with secret knowledge, gnosis. And get this. He even calls himself the master of the contradiction, which just so happens to be a direct echo of the demiurge's own title. That's no accident, folks. That is a straight-up declaration of allegiance. So, you gotta be asking, who is this cosmic architect, this sapphire demiurge who's pulling all the strings from behind the curtain? Well, the answer? It's not just a conspiracy. It's probably the most shocking twist in this whole story. Get ready for this. The collaboration, it's not an alliance, it's basically self-collaboration. The jester, Mephistopheles, he isn't working with the cosmic judge, the sapphire demiurge. They're one and the same. Two faces of the exact same being. The mastermind is the bad guy. This is a perfect cosmic sting operation, and it's being run by just one entity playing all the major parts. Okay, let's break down exactly how he pulls this off. First, you've got Mephistopheles playing the part of the jester. He's the high mediator, the one running the game on the ground. Then there's this wild cosmic transformation. He consumes the fallen seraph, and in doing so, he fuses perfect knowledge with his own chaotic will. And what's the result? He becomes the sapphire demiurge, his higher, ascended self, who's just waiting in the wings to act as the final arbiter, the judge. See? He's the player and the referee. He literally can't lose. But why? Why go through all this trouble? Well, it was never really about winning a single soul. No, this was about proving a huge philosophical point to the entire universe. It was a demonstration that the old rules, the old laws of morality, they're dead. And the new logos, it's his own defiant cosmic laughter. So, what does all this mean for the universe itself? Let's get into the final philosophical verdict of this absolutely brilliantly rigged game. This is really the ultimate takeaway from the whole deception. This chart really lays out the final score. Heaven's path, which is all about pure knowledge or gnosis, well, it's incomplete. It fails. And hell's path, based on pure chaotic will, that fails too. The only path that actually works, the only one that gets a victory, is the demiurge's path, cosmic irony, which is a fusion of both. So this victory of the absurd is now the new law of the land, the new sovereign law of this reality. And the best part? The whole deception is sealed by the wager's own fine print. There's a forfeit clause, right? And it says that if the game is void for any reason, Mephistopheles automatically gets the soul. But not as a prize. No, he claims it as an eternal punchline. And by using a duplicate, the Twilight Cynic, the game was automatically void from the second it started. There was never any real chance involved. The outcome wasn't left up to fate. It was a mathematical certainty, a 100% guarantee that the house always wins. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, it's this. The hero, the villain, and the judge, they were all on the same team from the very beginning. The universe wasn't saved. It wasn't destroyed. It was conquered. It has a new master now. And that just leaves us with one last, kind of chilling question to think about. In this new reality, a reality that's governed by a perfect, eternal, and terrifyingly logical joke, who exactly is it laughing at?